Welcome back to the Dax and Randy Show, the number one show for going through the ups and downs of life. Stay tuned. We're coming up next. I'm happy to have you guys here back with us for another episode of our podcast. And as always, I got my wife with me. What's up, man?
Hi, everyone. I am Randi, the co-host of the Dex and Randy Show. Why'd you smack your teeth?
I did?
Yeah, he was like, I'm Dex. Or you said something, he was like,
I did?
yeah.
I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know.
You all right?
I think so. Should we start over?
No.
No. I just, I'm had a lot on my mind the last couple of days, you know what I'm saying? Well, I don't know if you want to jump right into that, but I've just been thinking about, where we should be at and where we're at and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I think it's kind of got me down a little bit. But we can talk about it if you want.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting.
You can be noticing everything, you know what I'm saying?
I'm supposed to.
I know. But look, all right, so we're going to have to jump into something I didn't expect to jump into. But before we do that, this episode of the Dax and Randy Show is sponsored by Basin Accountant LLC. All right, so if you got a business, you need to make sure that you're hiring the best accountants out there. Make sure your books are straight. Make sure you know where your money is going, where your money should be going, how you should be ready for your taxes, you need payroll, like anything that you need for your business for you to be able to focus on your clients and make sure that all the numbers and the finances are being taken care of. You need to reach out to Basin Accountant today. At Basin Accountant on Instagram, www.basinaccountant.com. Reach out to us on the website. We got the best accountants, the best tax experts that you can find.
Yeah, and our team is really coming together now.
I know.
Yeah,
you know what?
Yeah.
So let's start off with that. Let's start. Look. I did suck my teeth at the beginning, but we'll get to why I did that in a second. But let's start off with be positive. You know what I mean? So if you got a business out there and like what talked about in the past, you get to that point where you realize like you want to grow, you can't do everything on your end. You got all of these great ideas, but it's only one of you. You need to start doing some things different, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we hired another
well, it's a new role.
An operations manager. You know what I'm saying? And why don't you let everybody know how this been going and why we did it from your view?
It's going really good. We're going into week 3.
Mm-hmm.
And we hired somebody who was qualified. So not only can they run an office and have the administrative aspect of it,
mm-hmm.
but also there's an accounting background, there's a tax background as well.
Right.
And it has freed so much off of my plate. I'm just like, I have a little bit more time. Actually, I have a lot more time now. And it's only been 2 weeks. So I'm very happy. But I also, I'm always skeptical. Mm-hmm. So I know everybody's probably good in the beginning.
Right. You've been saying that a few times, like give it some time.
Yeah, I got to give it some time.
Yeah.
I don't ever get too excited.
Yeah, because I was thinking, like, do I need to update the website right now? Put on the website. It was like, nah.
We ain't doing all right yet.
A little more time and everything. Mm-hmm. And she's been doing good and she's very proactive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what we need. Mm-hmm. Somebody that's trying to think ahead and trying to add value to us. So I think that's been a good thing for sure.
And she's being very intentional about adding value. Like she's trying hard.
Yeah.
So I like it.
Every day she's the first one to say good morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I've gotten used to that. But she's always reaching out good morning, you know what I mean, trying to get started on stuff. And she's been there for everything we asked for so far. So
I think she's hungry.
Yeah, I agree. You know what I mean? And I think what it's given us is just better service to our clients overall, just operationally. Right. So one thing about your business is you might provide a product or service, but like, what is that experience like as you're doing that? Right. Are you easy to get in contact with? Do you follow up on things quickly? Like, is it easy for you to charge and charge people and then for them to pay you? If there's issues, can they connect with you? If you got meetings with people, how long does it take you to follow up on the things you said you was going to follow up on? Are people on the same page or what the takeaways were for the meeting? Like it's so many little things day to day that could kind of cheapen your brand and your product if you don't do it well. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Just like us getting to one of our favorite restaurants out there, and one night it's amazing and one night it's not. The night that is not is because we had to wait too long to sit on. They brought us all the food at the same time. They didn't refill the water. Like
The Brussels sprouts were greasy.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like greasy one night. Like all those little things that take away from the experience, even though it might be like a 4-star, 5-star restaurant on that night. You know what I'm saying? If you went there for the first time and you didn't have the history, you might be like, that's all right. You know what I mean? But that could happen to us or with anybody in the business. You know what I'm saying? You got a new client or somebody that ain't got no history with you. What is it like?
Yeah.
I feel better having a new client now and what they'll get from the beginning.
Yeah. Speaking of clients.
Yeah. What's up?
We did have a former client
reach out.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that already?
Yeah. I would love to. So, I think everybody knows at this point. And if you don't know, back in 2023, we restructured our business services. And in that process, we had to get rid of a few clients in order to grow. And we had to increase our prices, provide a higher quality service. And some clients were just like, nah, nah, I can't go with you.
More than some.
Yeah. And that's fine. Okay. However, one in particular called last week, and I was just so happy to hear from him because he was one of my favorites. We had a really, really good relationship. And he said that he missed us.
And that felt.
Yeah, and I was like, I miss you too. And he said that, when we had first introduced our new account and advisory services, he wasn't on board, and his first thought was, I can't afford it. Mm-hmm. So he ended up going with somebody else, but he was like, I didn't realize how much y'all spoiled me. And I'm like, really? Yeah. So he wants to set up an appointment. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, let's talk about it. Mm-hmm. So he wants to set up an appointment, but I think he might be coming on back.
Yeah.
So it'll be this week, just so you know.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure I'll be involved in that conversation. Yeah. But that I'm glad that we see how it goes.
Yeah. But no, it made me feel good because I know that we love our clients. We have a good relationship with them, and it's never about the money.
Right.
But we are clear about where we're trying to go. And I respect if you can't go with us, even as much as I would love you to. So I'm excited to have him potentially be back on board with us. And then just knowing the type of value that we added to him. And it makes me happy because if he wouldn't have left us and went somewhere else, he wouldn't know the value that we added.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think at that time when he was our client, we were doing some advisory and stuff, but we weren't getting paid for it.
Yeah.
So.
But to that point, to be even more real about it is when you're doing things in your business, you're learning as you go. So sometimes you learn that I'm not doing some things right now. You know what I'm saying? One thing we learned was we was giving way more value than we was charging. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And we was doing that a lot of the time. And then we was also at this place where we could have been doing even more, but we wouldn't have did more because we already had a foundational problem, which is we was doing more than what the price point was, but yet we can do even more than that. So we had to mirror it up. We had to make our service be optimum, but then match it with the right pricing. And that's a big change. In business, you could change things, but it really impacts people when it changes the prices. For the average person, you could make yourself blah, 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 blah. But if you're charging the same thing, people don't really care. It's about the money for the most part. So I knew, what I'm saying, I knew that we weren't going to be able to take everybody with us. Yeah. And that's with anything in your life. If you change, you can't take everybody. But there's things that could happen that could make you, I don't want to say insecure, but could pull you back into the old ways you used to do things too. You know what I'm saying? Especially if something goes wrong. Or when you change and somebody's looking at you some type of way for how you're changing. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? What do you mean you don't offer the same service like you used to? What do you mean that it's this amount of money now? Why is it that way? You know what I mean? I'll give you an example. A little bit was we had an old contract format. Right? And it comes to the accounting and those all based on how much activity transactions you've got. But our business model is so different now that even if you had 50 transactions, we'll still give you a lot of value through advisory. So it's not the same method where it's like, hey, I have 50 now, I have 59, you got 10, the price is supposed to change.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we had some come up recently. I mean, you were a little at odds on it, but it was basically like, one of our clients is going through a tough challenging time. Every business got peaks and valleys. But their challenges right now is lower revenue, you know what I mean? Less business over this period of time. So what do you do? You see what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, an accountant, cool. But like, what do you do when your client last year was making a lot of money and then something happens this year and they're not making as much? You see what I'm saying? Like, how do you help them out? What happens if they ask you like, hey, you know what I'm saying? I may not need you in the same capacity, even though they need you.
Right.
It's like, hey, can I pay you less? Can you do less?
I ain't gonna be able
to do it. You ain't gonna be able to do it.
You were tempted.
I know, I was tempted because I felt a way like I should honor the contract, you know what I'm saying, that we put in place a couple years ago. Now, we should have revisited it.
Yeah.
Like we always are supposed to every year at least. But we technically didn't. So I'm sitting there like, how do I fix this? Because what I already have with this client isn't representing where we are now.
Right. He's under the whole month.
He's already under the whole month.
Right.
Right. So how do you let it go and fix it? You're like, sometimes you can be mirrored to your past. You know what I'm saying? And you just have to cut cord with the past.
Yeah. I was strong. I was strong. I was like, I'm not going back.
But you gotta cut cord. But that person could pop up and you'd be like, well, think about it. Like, I'm always been giving them a 20% discount or whatever. So now I'll give them 15, like you could always like cheapen it, but why? You know what I'm saying? Why do that? You're gonna lose some. You know what I'm saying? So I like that we together came up with how we should look at that situation. And we did both look and be like, well, we may not keep this client or not. I'm not sure. But
and you know what else?
We made the decision,
Yeah, and to piggyback on that, there was something else that positively impacted another one of our clients last week, which was we had a client who had been struggling to collect on his receivables.
Oh, yeah, you talk about that.
So we have another client who I would say that he is independent. And he likes to do things on his own, or he's used to doing things on his own. And we do advisory, and we actually do a lot more for him because he trusts us so much. Now, he has customers or clients. And for this one client, I think the invoices went back 2 or 3 months. He hadn't been paid. And it was causing issues with payroll. So anyway, we decided to get involved. And he's been trying to collect for months. And we collected that thing in, was it 2 days? 2 days.
Yeah, about 2 days. It was about 2 days. A day and a half.
Yeah. Quickly. Quickly. They started moving. So I would say that's the power of team. That's the power of just having like people in your circle like us who can talk that language, talk that talk. And a huge impact to the business. I believe so. And now going forward, we probably are going to be taking over some billing and stuff.
But you know why that happened though? Back to the point you was making. We care like that.
We care.
So like that support just generated out of the fact that we care. At the end of the day, we got a relationship with him. We had it for years. You know what I'm saying? And we believe in what he's doing from the beginning. And he's believed in us from the beginning. So when something goes wrong, it wasn't an immediate response like, well, this is what was contracted to do for you. So let us know. You know what I mean? Like we're quick to go above and beyond, but he's also part of advisory. We want to make sure we're giving him true value where he needs it. And accounting is just one piece of the pie. Like getting through day-to-day challenges, being a business owner is like the most value you need in your business. It's like, what do I do in certain situations? Whether it's financial, whether it's accounting, whether it's payroll like we was dealing with, whether it's tax related, whether it's some type of letter that you got in the mail, you don't know what to do with it. It's like, it's so many things that come and hit you. Man, you're the top of the chain. You see what I'm saying? And it even grows even more as you get bigger and you grow. So I like how we responded to that. I also felt like we could do something about it. So I was confident to say, like, let's try to handle this. You know what I mean? But you're in business, Emma, and you are trying to collect on funds. It's money that's owed to you. So we're all humans, but you could be at the liberty of somebody's judgment, right? As to whether they pay you or not, especially when you're dealing with small business and stuff like that. So it's different. Sometimes the message is different based on where it comes from. So I'm not chasing my money that you owe me. You know what I'm saying? My accounting team is reinforcing the money that my business needs.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And even though it's one and the same, it's a totally different thing. Like, pay me my money that I deserve, that I build you for, or there's two businesses that are communicating with each other. And one business and the way they're operating is negatively impacting the other. And I feel like that's what we was able to do.
Yeah.
And that's why they responded.
Yeah,
So
I'm not
it's
gonna
like,
lie though. I was shocked. Like,
why?
it probably imposter syndrome.
But you don't never want to admit we as good as we are.
I know. It's like, I know it, but to believe it,
Right.
you know, it's just, I struggle with that a little bit. Like, I know it deep down, clearly, because even the former client that might be coming back, he went to somebody else. When he went to somebody else, he was paying them more than us.
Right.
At that time.
You know,
and that means I was better the whole time.
But guess what, though? I'm gonna give myself some credit. You know why this also worked? Because I'm more present in the business. That's why I'm more present in the business. So I'm in certain conversations where, like, if I was, usually I wouldn't even be in that conversation. So afterwards, you might have been left with like all this information and not sure what to do. And then you're gonna probably communicate with me. Oh, this is what's happening, and then we got to decide. It probably was more impactful to me because I was on the call with you and the client as well. You see what I'm saying?
And the new operation.
And having to be accountable for being a good business owner. To be honest with you, if you really think about it, that's also part of it. Like, it prompted me to do what I'm supposed to do and bring the value that I'm supposed to bring in you as well. So all of these little decisions we're making, they make you operate a certain type of way. You see what I'm saying? Look at it like this. You could be a sole proprietor and you're working your business all on your own, right? You're making decisions every day. Maybe you're using your money for business. Maybe you're taking some money out and going to McDonald's with it because you ain't got your personal card, or you're doing all types of stuff on your end. You know what I mean? You got your business card, whatever. But then as soon as you, let's say, start hiring people, you will start trying to be a little bit better of an example. At least you should do. You know what I'm saying? So accountability sometimes comes in a team. So I'm asking you guys to be accountable all the time, but I got to be accountable too. We got a new operations manager. Ever since she started, I know that if she's out there aimlessly without no guidance, we about to get overcharged. I've learned that from the beginning. Like, we're about to, you know what I mean? Like, it's a environment that I'm creating that has to be controlled. They need to learn what we're doing. They have to find an efficient way to use our workflow, to use our systems. You know what I'm saying? They have to be efficient and they have to give us value. And I have to guide them to help know how we could do that and need that. They don't know our business from nothing. So I think even just hiring them is increased me being a little bit more accountable. Like, I want to know what's going on because I have another person that is important to know what's going on. And that person I'm expecting to make it better for everybody. You know what I'm saying? And not just hiring somebody to do apples and somebody else is doing oranges. Like, that's not her job. Her job is to help everybody work more efficiently together. You know what I'm saying? The other thing, what I will notice though before we move on, is that the very first meeting we had with her, our first team meeting, sometimes you think you're doing good until you try to show what you're doing to somebody else. And in our first team meeting, it lasted like an hour, 10 minutes or so. And to me, it was pretty glaring, some of the things that we need to improve on. Because, and for example, like status tracking. We were doing a lot of status gathering on that call, which is fine. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, I was thinking the whole time, I was like, it sure would be nice when we get to a point where this call's way shorter and everybody's already in the loop. We're just kind of hammering it out real fast. Yeah. It was a couple of bits of note taking. Oh, well, follow up. Like, you know what I'm saying? And we couldn't respond as fast because it's like everybody was learning at that time. And I'm like, this is why I need my operations manager to bring this together. And man, she comes to the meeting knowing the whole environment underneath and what we need to talk about. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to have her. But anyway, the reason I suck my teeth, you know what I'm saying, before we go too far. The reason I suck my teeth, honest, is because I was battling a little bit, I think, coming in there because of some of my recent conversations. And we keep it real on our podcast. So I don't know if Randi wants me to talk about this, but I'll talk about it anyway. But, you know, I've had some things happen where I feel like I'm disappointing my woman, you know. I made some bad decisions. And one of them is just with our podcast or even our business and certain things like that, like always being more of a leader. You know what I'm saying? She's been telling me how she wants to be able to be led. And, you know, she does a lot of leading sometimes. And I think that's been something I've been thinking about, especially last day or so, because I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? And I just think I'm trying to be objective, but, you know, I think I sucked my teeth because I was like, dang, on one hand, I was excited to pour today, but on the other hand, I've kind of felt like, well, what if this is a disappointment to what I've created? You know what I'm saying? Honest, I'm being real.
Like in regards to the podcast?
Yeah, like just, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like insecurity. Like, so like you try to do something great with somebody, you know, or you try to do something great for somebody, and you realize that it's not as great as it could be, or the person's told you, like, look, I need guidance, I need it to be more, you know what I'm saying? So I think I just was having this thought, like, I'm excited to do it, but like, I'm thinking the other things you said in my head, which is like, well, where is it going? Like, how are we going to grow it? How much, you know what I mean? How is it going to get profitable? Like, how's it, like, all this stuff was in my head, and it kind of took away a little bit. Honest.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, but I'm just being real.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to
no, but we should talk about that though, because it's like people like that. That's why I think our podcast is different, because we could be real like that. Like, there's a lot of people that start podcasts or start ideas and they don't last, and you could get lost along the way. You know what I'm saying? And no, hear me out. What I'm saying is, like, and I want everybody to listen to me for real, like, while you do something initially doesn't mean that in itself is why it's supposed to last forever. You know what I'm saying? So, like, initially, we both have people in our lives that mean everything to us that ain't here anymore. And they have instilled something in us to pursue our own dreams and figure out what's special about us. Your mama, my grandparents, things like that. And we've always had these kind of conversations about life. We have a very conservative kind of view to things that are not necessarily how things are done now. And we have so many conversations between each other, like, over the years, that I always, when we'd be outside and be like, we should just be recording this. You know what I'm saying? And we finally did it. And we're finally doing that. But does that mean that's enough for you to sit there and have a podcast with me for a year, 5 years, 10 years, without saying, okay, what's the plan to be impactful to people? What's the plan to grow it? What's the plan for you to take this great thing that you have and make sure that you're not the only person that is about it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the stuff you're saying in my head is very clear to me. Like, I didn't really have that part really thought out. And what happens when you have a great idea and you don't have a good plan for it? Sometimes it fails. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it falls apart. Relationships falls apart. Businesses fall apart. Great ideas fall apart because lack of planning, lack of communication, lack of adjusting, lack of execution.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with what you're saying. And I think that for me, for this podcast, like, the most important thing was, let's just get started. Because sometimes you don't need a plan or anything. You know, like, you want to have a podcast. You can sit and try to plan for it. How you going to do this, distribute it, who's going to listen. Like, you can sit in that space for a while and not do anything except for just, try to figure it out. So I think that we're doing good because we have figured a lot of things out. Mm-hmm. But now, it is time to go to the next level because we have the podcast production stuff. So, but I'm not trying to stress you out or anything like that. But I think that we're wired a little differently. And it might even be a cultural difference because you're Bermudian, you're more chill, laid back. I'm American, and I'm not saying Bermudians ain't like this, but I ain't trying to offend nobody. But I'm more like, all right, what's next? Where are we going with this? What we doing? So, but hopefully you'll continue to work with me.
But it's cool though. It's cool. I need you too. But you know what I mean? It's like, and the fact that we're having this conversation is why our podcast and everything we do together always lasts. It's the reason why we're getting on 10 years of marriage. You know what I'm saying? Not because we don't have these moments where we butt heads or, you know what I mean, discouraged by one another or whatever. But I feel like we do find a way to talk about it and we find a way to get through it. And we're a couple that's been in counseling together individually. I think the fact that our relationship always started with us sitting down and just talking for hours, that's like a foundational benefit that we have. You know what I'm saying? And I also think that the fact that we don't enjoy being upset with each other long always helps us to get reconnected, even if we're not on the same page about how we look at something. So like I might think something that, I feel bad about it, but I don't want to be in bad spirits with you. So I don't just sit off on the side completely separate from you or vice versa until I feel great. I might still feel bad about something, but I'm already back with you, trying to lay with you, talk to you, stuff like that. But
hold on, have you noticed that I've been a little bit more intentional about reconciling?
Of course, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I used to shut it on down.
Yeah.
When we get in the argument, I shut it down.
Yeah, she get real cold on you. Think she never liked you in the first place.
That's not nice.
It's true though.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But but that's why it's on my teeth. But I get it, dude. You know what I'm saying? But hold on. But I get it. But listen. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all is that it's okay to let go of that initial thought of what you had. Sometimes we hold ourselves back. You know what I'm saying? So what I mean by that is like you said, I'm Bermudian and all that. Like, of course, I'm Bermudian. I love that. You know what I'm saying? I don't need a whole lot. I don't need a whole lot of money. I don't need to be famous. Like, I don't need a lot of these things to make me happy. But that doesn't mean those things are bad. It doesn't mean that that's not what I'm destined to be doing. That doesn't, like, at the end of the day, you still believe that we don't know everything. You see what I'm saying? So, like, I'm happy to be in here talking to you. We pray every time before we pour that we're going to have a good time talking to each other. You get what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean that we're not going to blink our eyes like we did, and we're already at our year anniversary doing the podcast.
Oh, yeah, that just passed.
Right. We did at our year anniversary. So guess what? How many times do we actually have to say to each other, well, hey, we're finally doing it? Yeah. Or, hey, you know, what grandma used to tell us or what my granny used to tell us, we're doing it. That we're all doing it. We've been doing it for a year. It's okay to say we've checked that box off.
Yeah. And
what's next? I think a lot of times people, you stay in this like, well, I never thought I'll be doing this, so it's good enough that I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never thought that I'd end up going to the gym because I used to eat crazy all the time. So the fact that I come here, you know, once a week, twice a week, and I'm trying, leave me alone.
Yeah.
I'm, you know, I shouldn't be approached. I shouldn't be challenged. I shouldn't be pushed. But that's not true. You got what I'm saying?
Right. You can sit in that space.
You can sit in that forever,
well,
right?
You could sit in there forever, but
what?
It's okay to sit there.
It's all right to continue to make yourself better.
Exactly.
And that's my whole point with this is like, it's okay that you're trying to make us better. It's okay. Like when I coach, so I'm always supposed to push to make my players as good as they can. So if 1 minute they can't pass the ball at all, they come to me, they can't pass the ball at all. Now all of a sudden they're able to pass, use the right technique. Okay, am I a good coach if I sit there and celebrate them super crazy every single time that they're able to collect the ball and pass the ball back to me? No, because now they need to go on the field and pass in formation and be able to get back and move to different spots and get open, and they have to continue to grow. You see what I'm saying? They can't just sit here and say, well, coach, I never used to be able to do this. You know what I'm saying? Look, I could do it. Let's celebrate. Cool. But I will be holding you back. I don't want to hold you back. I don't want us to hold each other back.
Yeah.
So I think I'm just sitting here and I'm just trying to find the right way to know that we did do this to be impactful. You get what I'm saying? And how do we be impactful while we're going to have to get uncomfortable? Well, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes with each other, talking about things, sharing things, taking risks to put it out there. We did it from the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. Hired somebody. We didn't know nothing about podcasting. Hired somebody to frame up everything for us. We were risk takers. So we still got to be a risk taker now. You get it?
Yeah.
So like what risk are we taking right now?
Right.
With it?
Right.
None.
Right.
So you can speak up and be like, hey, well, we need to do that again.
Okay. So I want to speak up.
Yeah.
I want to ask for commitment for maybe every night from 9:30. This is a commitment and it's a sacrifice. But we're busy all morning, all afternoon, and all evening. Mm-hmm. So 9:30 to 10, if we could
7-figure forecast.
Finish our
Is that what did I call it right there?
Yeah. Because we haven't finished it, and I believe that it could take us to the next level.
And they was talking about people like us too.
Yeah. So
do you remember that?
Will you commit to that?
I will. I promise. We did 9:30 to 10.
Just 30 minutes a day.
Hours for sure.
But yeah,
you gotta put the baby to sleep.
School starts next week. We got next week.
Yeah.
They'll be in school, so everybody is going to bed at 9.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's and just to elaborate even more on that, like, first of all, I didn't even realize I sucked my teeth till you said that. Sometimes you could just be disappointed in yourself, you know what I'm saying? That disappointment, it could either prompt you to try harder or try to be better, or to like feel like you ain't good enough and look at it in a negative. You know what I'm saying? So I feel, again, we'll talked a lot about how we're in this transitional moment of our lives, and we'll talk about the positive things in it and what we're doing with our business and what we're doing with our health and all these type of things. But there's another side to that. And it's all the conversations. It's all the conversations of frustration. Is you up at night, you know what I'm saying? Where are we going? What are we doing? You know what I'm saying? What are we trying to do in the next couple of years? Are we staying in this house? Are we moving to another house? How are we going to build wealth? Like it's the conversation about trust and like what are we leaving to our kids and like what are we really trying to do? You know what I'm saying? Those are tough conversations. You know what I mean? There's a conversations where you look for your partner to have a really good answer, and sometimes they ain't got the right answer. They don't got the answer, or they don't want to talk about it like me. I don't have the answer sometimes, you know what I'm saying? And that's been the toughest part because I don't want you to feel like I don't care because I don't have the answer. Because sometimes I don't have the answer, but it doesn't mean I don't care. And then if I don't have the answer, you might look to see, well, what is he going to do? You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's what I was getting ready to say. Like that's where I get caught up with like okay,
let me see you do something.
Are you going to get the answer?
Right. But sometimes it's not that easy for a person. You know what I'm saying? And it's not an excuse, but sometimes it's like you don't know the answer and you don't know what to do next, or you don't know if it's going to work out, or you don't want to make the sacrifice to do it. And then, or you think you got time and then the time goes by. Like, I didn't expect it to be a year already doing our podcast, but I've loved every episode with you. And I do agree with you that every single thing I feel like we're talked about will benefit a lot of people. And we're the type of people that people can learn a lot from. So that should be happening. You know what I'm saying? That should be happening. So I'm going to commit to doing that with you. I'm glad you know me the way you do. And I'm glad I know you. I'm glad I'm in counseling because I get to see you. I can see you more, even though I don't like what you're saying. I actually can see you more. Counseling's been helping with that a little bit. You're probably like, what you mean by that?
Yeah, I'm like, that's interesting.
Like,
can you elaborate?
Of course I can. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, look, man, a simple way to look at it is intention versus what actually happens. So a lot of times you're in relationship, friendship, business, whatever, and like the effect that you have from an interaction with somebody, like what you took away from it, how you felt, what you heard them say, what you think they were trying to communicate, whatever, it doesn't match how they're actually feeling. of what they actually was trying to tell you. And there's so many things that impact that, and a lot of it is how you expect it to look as the receiver of the message. So, like, you want to be appreciated, you expect it to look like this. You want somebody to love you, you expect it to look like this. You know what I'm saying? And when it doesn't look like the way you expected it to look like, you start shutting down or you start coming to different conclusions. So let's have some fun. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean, because we're going to do my counseling homework right now on the podcast. So I was given some homework in counseling that's a good example of what I've been learning in counseling. But my counselor has told me that don't ever forget that your wife loves you and she just wants to spend time with you and she wants to be happy with you. This was weeks ago. My counselor was like, so every time you talk to her, just always remind yourself of these basic things. Like, that's actually how she feels about you. She loves you. She wants the best for you. She wants to spend time with you. So if you always remember that, let's remember that as you interact with her all the time, right? So the homework we about to do, we can have, I don't want to call it a game, but it could be a little makeshift game. But me and Randy's been getting back and forth about my career, and I haven't been communicating with her like I used to about like work and like how I'm doing and what jobs I'm working on and what my busy times are. Like, do I got a really stressful week this week and why? And do I got a not so stressful week? Like, we ain't been talking like that because from my perception, my job has just been like a negative to you in regards to how busy I am. I'm always telling everybody be quiet. I'm always stressed. I'm working too much. I don't got time for nothing else. You know what I'm saying? I don't got time to hear what you got to say, but I don't got time for meeting. Like, it's been this period of time where, like, when I think about my job, it's just something negative to me. So I start keeping it to myself. You know what I'm saying? But my homework was this, and I'm going to ask you right now. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure?
I'm ready.
Yeah, y'all been got a preview into how these conversations really go right now. Here's my homework. I need to have a conversation with you about how you really feel about my career, and what do you want for me out of my career in the next 5 years.
So I would like you to have a career that brings you joy. So something that you can get behind. I would like you to have a career where you are paid what you're worth. I think you are overworked for sure, and I think you're underpaid. And that concerns me because you won't take the time to look, to even like be curious if that's the case. Because maybe you could prove me wrong. Maybe you're being overpaid, you know. But I don't like to see you stressed like this. And it's like you're always working. Everything you just said. You're always working. You're always sitting. So it's not good for health reasons. But you're super stressed. I feel like every year as you moved up and got promoted, oh, it's not going to be like this year. It's going to be different. Oh, I have a team for me now. It's going to, I'm not going to be as stressed. But to me, I'm saying you're still at the computer most of the time. You check your emails and like sometimes you work on the weekend because you feel like there's nothing else I might as well work since I'm not doing anything. So I kind of feel like I don't think it's good for you. And I don't think that you're living up to your true potential. I don't think you're in your sweet spot. Like, I think you have two sweet spots. One is going to be coaching, but then the other one is going to be how your mind works with like analyzing stuff and how you talk in relationships. And I think that like in a corporate world, you could go very high with that aspect. So I do recognize the job pays you well and there's really, really good benefits. But also, like, I've seen jobs that pay well and have even better benefits. So my concern is just like, yes, you can move up and you can make a lot of money there, but I don't think that you'll truly be happy with your career. I can say, like, I think there's jobs out there that's like that. And I'm proud of how far you've come. Because I remember when you first started there and it was a little rough. And you've been through a lot. But I have found a part-time job, seasonal, that I just love. And I think that it pulls out the best parts of me. And I operate differently now as an employee because I am also a business owner and an employer. And I think that that could be the same for you. So, but I really want to see you happy at work. I would love that for you.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. I'd like to see you, you got off at 1 on Friday. I was like, y'all, he gets off at 1 every Friday, but he don't really be getting off at 1 every Friday. So it's like stuff like that. He got off early, the family and all of us, we went out to eat. That was nice. But yeah, your therapist is right. Like, I do love you and I want to spend time with you and I want what's best for you and I want you around a long time. And my mom used to always say, stress will kill you. And I see the amount of stress that you be under. And I'm concerned.
I appreciate it. So look, I appreciate all that. And I'm going to unpack it real quick because I needed to hear that. I'm glad I got this homework that I was given in my therapy, you know what I'm saying? But like on a day-to-day, that's not what I receive from you at all. And it's hard because maybe we need to sit down and talk in that type of way because everything you just said was in love for me, caring about me, wanting the best for me, wanting me to be happy, wanting me to be healthy. Like you said, a lot of things. You want me to be paid what I'm worth. You want me to be recognized, celebrated. You want me to be happy. You want me to be healthy. You want me to be around a long time. Like you love you some me. You love me.
I do.
So why is it something where this thing that you're concerned about with me is something that we don't even talk about?
Because the way I have communicated, that has not been effective.
That's all right.
And I've communicated with like
the way I started the podcast.
Exactly. And just like, oh, he's working.
So when you see,
when are you getting off?
Right.
Can you please help me? I mean, you gonna work all day. Oh my gosh. Do you have time to do anything?
But we're not like anybody else. You know what I'm saying? So my whole point with this is like, we hold humans to such a high standard. I do that too, but we don't always know the right way to say things day to day. We don't always know the right way to talk to our spouse. We don't always know the right way to respond in certain moments. Like, because at the end of the day, we're just human beings. And if I'm working a lot, you do want me to stop working so much that day. You do want me to be available. In the heat of the moment, if you want to watch a show or whatever, you can, because I'm sitting there shushing or whatever. You're not going to say at that moment, I love you. I want the best for you. Can you please turn that down? You're stressed. You're going to be like, oh my God. Like, you're just going to do that. You're a human being. You're going to show your frustration in different ways. You know what I mean? You're going to show your concern in different ways. But you got to sit down and communicate because now, at the end of the day, you're my friend like always. And you want me to be okay. And that's your job. Your job is to try to make me the best that I could be. And sometimes that involves telling me things I may not want to hear or would be tough for me to receive. But I do need to hear it. Because if not, I will be sitting there with a wife for the longest while that just sits on the sideline thinking I'm overworked and underpaid, but I'll never want to say nothing because it's going to be contentious. And every time you say it, if you don't say it the right way, I could be sitting there thinking that you don't appreciate the money I'm making. Just think about it. I'm like, it's real. Like, this is what we've been talking about. I'm sitting, and this could happen to anybody. I'm sitting there trying to get you to verbally say out loud all the time that you appreciate what I do for the family, what my money does for the family. But you do. But I haven't heard it like that. And that's where it gets something where we have to come together because I do need to hear that. I do need to hear that I appreciate what you do for your family. I appreciate the money you make. I appreciate the job you have. I do recognize that it's good money. I have seen, like you said, you progress. It was rough in the beginning. You're acknowledging everything that I need you to acknowledge to feel appreciated. But you still have to come behind it and say, wow, I think there's more out there for you. You see what I'm saying? But it's all about the communication. It's all about the connection. And it's all about when and how you do things. So I'm got a good read back from my homework. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? But my homework was, because I was talking to the counselor for real. I'm not even making this up. I was talking to the counselor. She was like, man, have you guys had a conversation about how she feels about your career? Because I was telling her, like, I don't need to say this. Like, she get upset about this, saying I work this and do this. And then she just stopped me. She was like, okay, I understand you guys have been saying things, but she was like, have you guys actually said, let's have a conversation? What do you think about me and my career and what I've done and what you want me to do? And I sat there and I was like, wow, we talked about it a lot, but I don't think we had a conversation. I've never asked you, like, what do you think about me as a professional? You know what I'm saying? Like, just straight out blank. What do you think about me and my career? Where do you want it to go? But you're my wife. We're supposed to talk like that.
Yeah.
We're supposed to talk like that, just like we talk about our business. Where do we want this to go? Our podcast. Where do we want this to go? We're supposed to be able to have these conversations because we're partners. But sometimes we just stop having the conversation. And then you know what happens? One person could start killing themselves trying to compensate for what they think the other person's saying. You know what I'm saying? They can go start trying to do extra hours, trying to do this because they think it's a money thing. There's so many impacts, and one person's killing themselves and the other person's not even getting the feel of all the work you're putting in because that's not what they wanted. That's not what they thought. That's not even the issue. You see what I'm saying? You want me to be happy. I can't even, I mean, this will make you happy, but I can come in with another 50 grand. I think that will make you happy. But it wouldn't address everything you just said. You see what I'm saying? Because if I made another 50 grand every year, you'd be happy with some things, but you would still be looking at me working at night, working on the weekends, and still not completely fulfilled with how you're feeling.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It wouldn't work. You would have to tell me. It could get worse. I could be making another 50 grand, yelling at you even more because you don't appreciate the money I make. Because I haven't addressed how you're really feeling, which is like, my husband is stressed out and I want him to do something about that. I see my husband as an amazing person. I want him to be acknowledged like that. I'm saying? I appreciate that.
You won't.
But we got to communicate with each other out there. We got to communicate. And sometimes just ask yourself, it sounds simple, but like this thing that I'm not wanting to talk to my girl about or talk to my husband about, or this thing that I feel like we talk about all the time and can't get nowhere, just ask yourself, have you really had a conversation? Conversations are two-way things. So not talking at each other, but like talking with each other. And rephrase what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Because I could have sat you down and be like, do you like the fact that I do X, Y, Z, and it might have been something negative, but I just asked you open and plain, like my homework said, how do you feel about me and my career? And you could just say everything.
So how do you feel about me and my career?
Honestly, I don't want you to ever go back to work. And so when you brought that up yesterday,
oh yeah, I was hot over here yesterday.
Yeah, she was mad at me yesterday because I borrowed money. I wasn't supposed to borrow money. And I didn't need the money. I just took money out of a place I shouldn't took it from, spent it on things that didn't benefit the family at all. And I told her that I wouldn't do this in the past, and I did it anyway because I got bad money problems, money issues, money habits from the past, which at the end of that hurt you a lot.
It's okay. We're working through it.
Well, we're working through that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, well, I'm going to go back to work then. And I know what I could pull in every month.
And I was just like, nah, because I'm looking at you and I'm like, I see your light shining since you work from him. And I'm proud that you get to work our businesses. And if anything that you additionally did with your time, I would want you to do all of these things that I know that are sitting right under your fingers, that are going to make you great and allow you to express yourself. Doing your trainings, doing your webinars. I don't know if I should be dropping this.
No, it's okay. This is accountability.
Doing all the webinars that you want to do for our business, you know what I'm saying? Teaching our clients things. So one of the things that we want to really increase is the teaching part. And that's what comes with advisory. But like, we want to equip you with information on your end. So like, we know a lot. So like, you can come to us and continue to pay a fee and we do stuff for you after the fact or with you or whatever. But we want to educate you. Like we really care. We want to teach you things. We want to do trainings. We want to do workshops or what you call your things. Webinars. But the courses, online courses, like we want to teach, like we want to share. We want to grow community. We want you to learn. We want you to learn from us. It's all part of the same thing. So I would want you to do those things, merchandise with our podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like all these things, when we talk about them initially, we're excited. and then it dies down because we didn't do it. But I want us to do those things. I don't forget the excitement of watching you put on a Beers in the Counter t-shirt for the first time.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's the difference between motivation and discipline is what I'm learning. Like, I don't need more motivation, because what happens when you don't feel motivated?
You got to be disciplined.
You got to be disciplined. And that's what I'm being prayerful about.
Yeah.
And just being more disciplined.
Talk about that. Because I feel like, I need that from you, and I feel like you bring that to us. But where did you identify that that's something that we need help with, the discipline? Because I agree with you.
Probably, like, I don't know if you noticed, but when I start getting off track, I start listening to my positive podcasts and stuff. So, like, that always resets me, you know, that and the word.
Yeah, yeah.
So I heard it somewhere, somebody's podcast. I don't know, but that's what it is. Because the motivation, I want to be so many things. Yeah. Like, I want to be. I've been thinking about this lately, but I'm like, when I retire, I would like to go to culinary school.
Really?
I am like.
Wow, you've been baking a whole lot.
I've been like.
Why you ain't talking about the bread you've been making? We should have. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, I'm seeing another side of myself.
Yeah.
And I'm actually kind of starting to fall in love. Like, I'm falling from scratch. Like, that's what I could say. Like, meals from scratch, whether it's baking or cooking, because I like knowing what the heck is in my food.
But so no, I don't want to be skeptical. I actually want to pause right here. I want to pause right here and connect something that I didn't even expect I was about to connect, but I know it connects. I'm going to thank the Lord for this right now. I'm going to thank Jesus for this right now. I'm going to give the credit to him, because that's where this is coming from. This morning we was watching church service, Zion church service. I don't even know the preacher's name, the younger guy. Or
Stefan,
right? And he was talking about just being thankful for the fact that everybody had come to church and had been through all different things all week. Had been through all different things in their life. And he was talking about how God has continued to give you strength. Like, everything that he said was like, his punchline was like, you felt weak, but then that strength showed up. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? He kept saying, like, that strength showed up. And God is that strength. God is giving you that strength to show up in those moments that you need strength. God does a lot of things to connect your challenging times to make you better, but also help you learn about yourself. So what from my view, what I feel like has happened, or at least been a contributing factor, is that one of the most challenging things that you've kind of been dealing with the last year or two with our son, and developmental delays, and the stress of him not eating certain things, and the stress of him not talking to us yet, that's been a pain. But it's also now turned into, I believe, you getting to know more about yourself, because now you have to be more conscious about what we're feeding our son. We know that there's certain things that don't help with a kid that has developmental delays. Mm-hmm. There's certain things he shouldn't be eating. There's certain things we should be staying away from. And you're so conscious of that, and you love him so much, that not only are you becoming better for him, you're actually learning about yourself. And that's what the Lord is doing. That's what God is doing right now. And if he wouldn't have gave us our son with these challenges, you might be still buying the same box muffins that you've been buying forever and not been thinking nothing about it. And you wouldn't even know that you want to cook. You wouldn't even know that you want to, I'm sorry, like I'm preaching. Woo! And you wouldn't even know that it means something to you to know what's in your food, to know the ingredients. You know what I'm saying? But now it means something to you. But that might have been something that was always in you. But God hadn't put you in that valley, that situation to make you aware of it. And now he's doing it. So now you got a why, and you may never go back. Because if you do it for your son who you love, and it's also something that was already in you, you're set. And you're going to fall even more in love with that.
Yeah. I didn't know it was.
I didn't either, but I could see it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he was talking about today. Yeah. God gives you the strength. God gives you the strength. You see what I'm saying? So maybe there's nights where you're worrying about him and what he's going to eat or what shouldn't be in his food. That can also turn into your excitement to try the new recipe the next day. And God is healing you from your pain, even as you go through it.
Yeah. Because now for the things that I've made, like the sweets and stuff, I feel differently giving it to them. Like, you can have a brownie.
Yeah.
I know exactly what's in that brownie.
Right.
It's only this much sugar and it's this type of sugar.
I'm proud of you. And it's been little, like, and listen, yo, like, it's okay to get better incrementally. 1 minute you go get coffee, Randy makes the coffee. 1 minute I take a sip of the coffee, and I'm like, hello, it's a little different today. What's in this coffee? This is monk fruit, monk juice, sugar. I'm like, what? Okay.
I've been putting lion's mane, mushroom.
Yeah, and look, and then
why am I going to the bathroom?
Like, hey, look, and then you had the coffee, and I'm not gonna lie, like, the devil will get you. It's gonna let you know it's different right away. But after 2 or 3 times, now you enjoy it. The body adjusts.
Yeah. But you know what?
Let go through the adjustment.
I think that you brought it out of me too. Because like, in my mind, like, okay, so in my mind, I've been thinking, like, dang, you should probably go to culinary school. But I've probably been thinking that, let's say, for a year. Okay. But I'm always beating myself up over something. But you said something probably like 2 weeks ago, because I was in here crying or just feeling bad about food and what I should be feeding him. And you reminded me of how far I had come.
Yeah.
And you were like, I haven't seen this type of cereal. Like, the sweetest cereal that we have in this house is Honey Nut Cheerios.
Yeah.
We used to have Trix and what is it, Captain Crunch Berries?
Man, I bought some Captain Crunch Berries in the house while Randy was on vacation.
Oh, I was hot.
She was pissed.
Yeah. But I've cleaned up. Like, we don't have Oreos in here. I'm baking the cookies now from scratch. Like, it has changed incrementally. You reminded me of that. And I think by you doing that, it made me want to do more. I spent all day yesterday baking. I made pancakes from scratch. Tried two recipes in 2 days. Like, it made me want to do better, because I'm like, dang, I really have come a long way. I can acknowledge that and still be working on things. So I appreciate you for that. I couldn't do this life without you.
Likewise, you know what I'm saying? And you cannot go through the ups and downs of life on your own. And that don't mean that you're in a relationship. That don't mean that you're married. That don't mean you got a girlfriend, boyfriend, or even a friend. But you always got to know that you ain't meant to go through the ups and downs alone. God's put you on this earth for a reason. You have a unique purpose, unlike anybody else. And every single time you find that nobody's there and you feel like you're all alone, that's the time when you're supposed to realize that you're not alone at all. And you got to reach out to the person that is ever so carefully behind the scenes, cooking up that magical potion, that magical equation that's just for you. And I'm glad that, that's what we believe. And we want to wish everybody to get that connection with the Lord, because that's the person that really loves you the most. You know what I'm saying? And until next time, make sure you follow the Dax and Randy Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can follow us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on TikTok. Show us love, because we just go through the ups and downs of life with y'all. We share about our lives. We want to hear about yours. We 1 year into doing this, and next year, we're going to have built this community. That's what we're going to be accountable to. We're going to do 7-Figure Podcast, David Shands. We're going to finish it, finally. And just make sure you follow us, man. Show us love, comment on the videos. Let us know what you're going through. We're here for y'all. Peace. Make sure you follow the Dax and Randy Show on all platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, on YouTube. Let us know what you're going through. This is the #1 show for going through the ups and downs of life. We want to hear from you, engage with you. Till next time, peace.